Very late, aren't we, Steve? Let's go. Let's get down here. We got things to do. Disk drive full. Can't believe how busy we are in the weather department. Where's Rex? T-Rex. Let's go. I don't even know where to start. The disk drive in my head is pretty much full. Easy, Rex, easy. Stay. Stop. Stay. All right, go ahead. Good boy. What is it, Rex? Yeah, we're going out. Sorry. He's like, are we going out? Oh, we're going out, and look at that. You can't plan a rainbow. I, honest to God, didn't know there was a rainbow. And you can only get rainbows this time of day, 10:20, when it's a very low sun. This would not happen in the summertime. Do I want to get into a rainbow? Sorry. It's the sunlight, which is behind me, refracting through the front of the raindrop, reflecting off the back of the raindrop, and then refracting out the front of the raindrop. So essentially it's sunlight bouncing back, and it would form a complete bow if you were up, a complete circle if you were up in a plane. So you can't get a rainbow with a high sun because it would be in the ground. Anyhow, yeah, so we're out the door. We've got weather and more and more and more and more. I just can't keep up with it. Look at that. Very rarely do I get, I somehow, miraculously, I don't get water in my cellar too much, but very rare do I have that much water right there. So to say we are saturated is an understatement. I took the flag off yesterday. So essentially we're getting like April showers right now, like April showers. It's 53 degrees. Varmints, varmints, varmints. 53 degrees, very unstable atmosphere. I'm gonna go back and shut the door. And let's check the ice bucket. I said maybe there'll be some ice left in here this morning. Yeah, right. I do windows. Yes, I do windows year round. I like clean windows. It's impossible to keep them clean though, isn't it? It's impossible to keep up with the weather. Where do we start? I love documenting the weather, but it's out of control. Where do I start? The barometer last night got down to about 28.95 inches. You follow your barometer? And we talk about what is wind. Wind is air moving from high to low pressure. And 28.95 is very low pressure. And the high pressure system, which was a 1030, I just changed from inches to millibars. That's one of the problems here, the metric system and the standard system. I'll just tell you that 29 inches on your barometer is 982 millibars. And so this low pressure system was below 982 millibars. Wind is air moving from that high to our north into the low with a triple point where the occluded front meets the cold front meets the warm front in central Maine this morning. Look at this. So for the second time in 3 days, my rain gauge ran over the 1 inch, so the inside tube holds about an inch. We have condensation happening. And then you can multiply these by tens. So if I had 0.1, that's another inch. 0.2, that's another inch. So it's a 3-inch rainfall here in North Weymouth on top of about 2 inches the other day. So about 5 inches in 3 days, but not to be outdone, Richmond, Rhode Island. 5.7 inches of rain between 4 p.m. and 7 a.m. That's 15 hours. 15 hours, oh, man, just impossible to keep up with. You heard about all those tornadoes, more than 350 reports of severe weather down the East Coast yesterday. And those torrential downpours came through. Ralph in southwestern Connecticut is great on rewinding the radars for us. Thank you, Ralph. And he's a weather nut, self-proclaimed, and I love it. And he grabbed this image in the pre-dawn hours of the squall line crossing southern New England. Matt Douglas at Blue Hill Observatory. He estimated the wind would gust to 70 miles an hour. Guess what the wind gusted to? 70 miles an hour. Great job, Matt. Looking over toward Blue Hill. Look at those clouds. We have a very unstable atmosphere right now. You talk about April showers, that's because you get warm air down low, which is light and likes to rise. and cold air aloft, which wants to condense out the moisture. Cold air wants to sink. So that's why we're getting these downpours coming through here, and that's why we got that rainbow. And the snow in northern Vermont, that's where I keep most of my friends. I don't keep my friends, but they keep me informed, let's put it that way, of what's going on more than most other areas. So I'm kind of partial to northern Vermont, and I will be on the road that direction here before too long. But anyhow, Donna and Carl at the top of the gondola. The rain that came in early in the morning on top of 8 inches of snow changed back to snow at the top of the mountain by 9 o'clock. And they said the top was just perfect, silky snow. But once you got down below 2,000 feet, it was almost impossible. Cement. Yeah, but there go the Jeezy crew at Jay Peak hiking up. A lot of the lifts were not opening today because of one, wind. What wind? And two, the infrastructure took a real big hit last night with snow and ice and wind, and even though the wind is letting up now. So the low pressure center is just not even through here yet. Oh, look at the tide down here. We get some pretty high tides. I feel terrible for those on the coast. And Deuce Man in Wells, Maine, he did a live shot for us this morning on X. Have to get used to not calling it Twitter. Anyhow, terrible situation there on the coast of Maine with the waves coming up and throwing rocks at the house and flooding the area there from Wells to Portland. And Steve Train, he's a lobsterman. He's always reporting for us from the coast of Maine. And he says, look at that, the boats are higher than the street level over there in Portland. Terrible storm. And that when you get that such a low barometer, you get a storm surge. Literally, the low pressure sucks the water in. And we have another situation on Saturday where we're going to have almost equally low barometer, and it's going to come with more wind, and this time it's an astronomical high tide. It's a new moon this weekend, so you get a new moon tide, and that's really a terrible situation. So what do we want to talk about? How about this? Today we have the NAM, scattered snow showers and rain showers dissipating, gradually turning colder here. Not really a hard freeze in southern New England, but in northern New England, cleaning up that 5 to 10 inches to 15 in Maine snow. You got to do it before it freezes. I'm sure people are really breaking their backs doing that right now. Anyhow, sorry. Here comes another little wave on a front coming through here. Now, this is a wave that's emanating off the northwest blizzard, northwestern United States. We'll look at that in a second. And just a little wave on sort of an Arctic boundary with a few inches of snow here tomorrow night into Friday. And then here's the Saturday situation. It looks somewhat similar in the barometer department, but nowhere near as moist. So it looks like an inch of rain for southern New England and a few inches of snow for northern New England, with a rain snow line once again going right up the Green Mountains and then up to about Sugarloaf. So each one of these a net gain of snow. Summit of Mount Washington had more than 3 inches of H2O with this storm, and it was mostly snow to sleet. I don't know if it rained at all, but about 19, 20 inches of snow on top of Mount Washington. We'll get about another 5 on Saturday. Now let's go to the whole lower 48 over the next 10 days. There goes our storm off to the right, and very cold air. A piece of that storm from the northwest breaks off and comes through here. That's a little wave on Thursday into Friday. And then here comes another one on its heels Saturday. That one looks like it wants to cut right across the Great Lakes and then across central New England. Sub 982. Barometer goes down below 29 inches again. More coastal issues, but probably not as many flood issues, even though the ground is saturated. And that's a fairly fast mover. Cold and windy on Sunday and Monday with very cold Arctic air at the Canadian border, but just marginally cold at the south coast, and very windy though with low barometer to our north. So low barometer cold is very unstable. That means upslope snows in the mountains. And then here comes another system coming out of the southern Mississippi Valley. This one does look like it generates more severe weather in the southeastern United States. And here we go again with that rain snow line. This is the operational Euro taking it down sub 960, exiting New England Wednesday afternoon. That is just crazy low barometer. I think that's going to be that's overdone, and that low is probably going to track further south. So I think the rain snow line on that one's going to be further south, like near Boston. That's my gut feeling. And then on next Saturday, here comes another one, and now we're in very cold air, so that one has a more of a potential of bringing snow to southern New England. But each one of these, you can see the rain snow line is right over us. Just incredible. You'd think that the cold air would win out here eventually, but the cold, we hear so much about it on Twitter and Ryan Maui and everything with the polar vortex. Well, it's all kind of sheared out and doesn't look like it's going to come and hold in New England, although it should get cold enough for at least a little bit of pond hockey or maybe some ice boating on Seymour Pond in Harwich. Rick Bishop. And look at that cloud right there. That is just a gorgeous cloud. I'd love to see that one from the top. Bubbling cauliflower cumulus clouds. And it's raining over Hull again. So we get these all lined up right here. That plane is going to go right through it. And so what about the 10-day snowfall amounts? Here we go, coast to coast. We are in the midst of, I think it's week 11 of coast-to-coast snow for North America. And we are certainly in the snowiest pattern we've been in. And maybe a few winters when you add it up coast to coast. That is, 2 to 3 feet of snow here in the mountains of northern New England and the mountains of the Northwest. I looked for a blizzard in Washington, Oregon, and I didn't really see blizzard conditions. Stampede Pass wasn't even that windy, but there were reports of 30 inches of snow in the Northwest. So it's really coast to coast, and also New Mexico. There's the national snow amounts in the last 24 to 36 hours. A lot of orange on that map, orange being over a foot of snow. So I'm trying to get on the road. We went to Madonna last night. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but due to obstructed seating, they moved us to the front row. Yeah. Front row, about 20 feet away from this icon, Madonna. I thought it was a really good show, so I was happy that we went. And figures, the last several concerts she's gone on at 10:20. And last night she went on at 9:45, pulled a fast one on us. We were just barely able to get down there in time to see that show. I was counting on her about a 10:20 start. Anyhow, I think she did a really good job, and I wonder how much she'll let me lift and put on YouTube on a separate video. I have some and more of us just walking around enjoying the snow yesterday. I think I had some of that stuff, and I actually don't really remember. So the a little bit of Madonna, and how about a couple of words from Deuce Man and Ray Alba did a great job yesterday. I don't have time to repost all your stuff, Ray, but I thank you for all your contributors on X and YouTube. I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Facebook, so everything here goes through X and YouTube and word of mouth, and it's spreading. I really appreciate everyone that comes and watches and leaves comments. I will answer your questions, and I think that the animals are part of the draw. Huh, Steve? I'll put some seed in that bird feeder. Look at the weather stick. It's pointed right down. You all know what the weather stick is. Points up in good weather, down in bad weather, and that thing's about 20 years old, and it still works. It's top secret on how it works. All right, there's Steve. T-Rex is just sitting over here. What, you want to play with the ball? Are you he's tangled up? He's not tangled up. He's just sitting there all patient. He loves to play with this ball, but not now. All right, talk to you tomorrow from a different door. 3:30. Clouds are lowering and gathering, but we're near the ocean, so we can hold a lot more water vapor than they can inland where it's already snowing. It's going to take a while to precipitate here. And so I thought I'd show some indoor and more. Steve getting cozy this morning. Well, yesterday afternoon. On Grandma's Afghan.
If they call you shocking, scandalous, dangerous, I'm your worst nightmare.
She is certainly controversial, but she is also certainly popular.
Do I have to listen to this?
Yeah, become virtually a seasonal affair. The weather changes, and there is a new Madonna controversy.
Weather connection.
I'm your worst nightmare.
A lot of boyfriends there.
See, I get what I want. She's mean. She was just really sweet and just very nice, and she's the coolest ever.
I did too. I never said that.
She was mean.
I think her appeal is that she is feminine, she is herself, she is sexual, but she's strong.
I was chained to my desires. I do everything by my own volition. I'm in charge.
What's the worst thing about being famous then?
You have to answer stupid questions.
I felt like, I wanted to follow the footsteps of Madonna and be a powerhouse and have my own empire. I like the way that sounds.
Is there anything that you would have traded all of that for?
Yes.
A mother. A mother. A mother. A mother. A mother.
I'm like a bad lady. I'm carrying too many things. And I'm not making any money. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not making enough money. So, I know as I walk through these decades, I know what I need. I really know what I need. Keep your light on, because I need your light. I need your light. Stop it. Put your arms up. Make an effort. But I'm going to tell you what you don't need. Okay? Are you ready to hear this lesson? I said, are you ready? You don't need diamonds or 18-karat gold. That's a